David Levin, CEO of McGraw-Hill Education. Nice to chat with you today.
Thank you, Rhonda. Delighted to be here.
So it is the start of a new school year. Tell me how much of your business now is traditional paper and how much is digital?
Well, it's been quite an exciting and quick shift. In the first half of this year, over 60% of what we did in higher education had moved to digital. In the K-12 side, things lag because infrastructure is worse, and it's probably about a third.
Where do you see that going in terms of, say, a 5-year horizon?
Well, I think in the world of higher education, it's overwhelmingly going to become digital, certainly for those sort of big freshman, sophomore entry cohorts, and that's very important. K-12 is going to be very blended. That is a mixture of print and digital. The infrastructure through the whole school system doesn't really support full digital everywhere, and in any event, there are real reasons in the classroom why there'd be some mix of paper and digital.
What needs to be done in terms of infrastructure spending at the K through 12 level at this point?
Well, it's very different. You know, the position, of course, is determined state by state, district by district. Education is profoundly a local phenomenon. So, you know, what we've got in the United States is the 21st century is here in some schools, very definitely, and in others we're still a long way behind. So it's not a uniform picture. It's very much a local question of how people are going to do it. Nationally, we have to work on how we get bandwidths up and how we improve the infrastructure to allow digital education to be real for everybody, and that's in all of our interests.
Why is digital superior?
Well, the first thing is, you know, great education is great education. What adding software to content allows you to do is to help identify and target individuals, to personalize the education, which is something which has kind of been the holy grail of education for a long time. So if you can personalize it, you can bring to the right student at the right moment the right resource, and that really helps them progress. Each of us has a different background, each of us has a different base. We've each got to find our own path forward. Every parent knows that about each child.
If you had the ear of the next president, what would you advise them in terms of improving education in this country?
Well, I'd say we need to focus more on outcomes and less on inputs. And that is, you know, to me the greatest tragedy is that 18% or so of young people fail to graduate high school. Of those who go into higher education in 2-year schools, 7 out of 10 don't complete them. Of those who go into 4-year schools, probably 4 out of 10 don't complete. That's our problem, is if we could get those young people to fulfill their potential and actually graduate, be it from high school, community college or 4-year school, things would improve immediately.
And at McGraw-Hill, what do you try to do on the remediation efforts for children at all levels?
Right. Well, that's where the software is so important, because what it's really good at doing inside of content is seeing what a specific learner needs and knows at that moment, in that individual learning moment. And it spots the weaknesses, the gaps that may not be otherwise visible. It produces the data to allow a great teacher or an instructor to go and help that student at that moment on that particular question. And that's different for each student. So that really helps people learn better.
And what are you seeing in terms of investment in your own business from the outside? Is it increasing? Does the move to digital help you in that way?
Well, in our case, you know, we've changed a huge amount. I mean, we're now sitting with something like 510 software engineers in the business, and here you are, you're seeing a feel for the sort of company that we are. And that translates to what, almost a couple hundred million a year being spent on software. And that's because we think it's important to delivering better outcomes. So for us, if we push through that way, we think there's a very attractive, fundamentally important thing that we can do for society, which is help get better grades, and at the same time make certain that the business is renewed and has a relevant role in the future.
For your business in the next 5 years, what's the biggest challenge in growth and achieving some of your goals?
Well, we're getting very nice take-up on the digital side. It's very good. But the biggest challenge is people's familiarity and comfort, because this really does allow a fundamental change in the way people learn and the way people are taught. And we see time after time instructors and teachers who sort of see it, learn it and feel confident in it really become committed and excited, because it helps them deliver all of the promise of what took them into teaching in the first place. But at the same time, it is a change. and changing patterns of behavior, be it for students or for teachers and instructors, takes time.
David Levin, it's been wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.